So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Mr. Sherif Loutfi.
Good morning, everybody. It's my honor and pleasure to be here in this international school. As she mentioned, my name is Sherif Loutfi. I'm half Egyptian, half Swiss, or half Swiss, half Egyptian. I come from two places, and I come from nowhere practically. So I'm sure many of you also here, or some of you are also dual or come from more than one place. Today I will not bore you with a presentation or speech. I'm just going to tell you a story, or stories, حكايات. Before I start there, I just want to emphasize on one or 2 points which are very important in life, very important in a career or in an adventure, and it's a common factor. Every one of you has a target. It's very important to have a target. And keep this target in mind, because waking up in the morning every day, you are practically going into the day-to-day, being it in school, university, working force. You are always kind of in the forest itself. You are not realizing the big picture. So just keep in mind that you have to have a target, and this target, you don't lose it. You have to have discipline. You have to work with your head and your heart, so you have to use your discipline side, your organized side, and you have to also use your passion. One of them might dominate in your character, but both of them have to be there. And always, especially in your age, I know you're 16, 15, 17, 18, etc., you are practically, when you go into a problem, you get into it and you forget that this is just one of the problems you will meet. Always keep the big picture. Now, the common factor between my first career, if I may call it, the main career, and then after that, the second career, which is the adventure side, there was always this target, discipline, big picture. And you have to keep them always in check. Of course, sometimes you lose track, you get trapped into a problem, and then you realize, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And then a year or 6 months later, you realize it was just something very small. And this is only normal. So that's why I want you to look at this, being it in a career, or an adventure, or in a sport, as very important and crucial. And this is the common factor between these two things. Most of you, of course, will go now into a new phase, being it high school, university, later into the working force, and then after that getting married, having children, changing work, changing where you're living. This is also a very important thing in life, change. Now, you can let change come to you, or you go to change. It's up to you. So always keep in mind, beside your target, beside your passion, beside your organized brain, you also have to embrace change, because it's going to get you sooner or later. And you are now in the beginning of this road, going into change. You might have to change sometimes, you might want to change. Now I've said a few words, and this is the basic which I want to build on, the story I'm telling you today, and not speech. So the first thing I will talk about is my previous trip, and then later on, my future trip. Now, as you see here, there are 2 flags that look a little bit not very clean, and there are 2 flags that look very fresh. So this is what it's all about. To get experience, you have to go through rough times. And with these 2 flags that went 17,000 kilometers from Zurich to Tokyo, solo, carrying them, representing these 2 countries, being Swiss and Egyptian at the same time, as you see with time how they look. Although they are not the first 2 flags, I changed about 3 times. So this is the past which you build the experience on, and this is the future which I'm going to use for the next trip. So my first trip, or it wasn't the first really big challenge, was taking the motorcycle solo from Zurich to Tokyo, passing through 9 countries, 17,000 kilometers, and it took me 69 days. Could have taken less if there wasn't the hassle and the problems I met. And you have to be prepared with everything, starting from nutrition to first aid, mechanics, and you cannot afford to have a lot of space. So you have to be very well organized. As I said in the beginning, you have to use your brain in order to organize yourself, the worst case scenario, and how to move forward. But at the same time, you have to have the passion to carry the flags in your country and something you identify yourself with. So being on a motorcycle or being in a career, you have to have both. So this is a picture of me at the pyramids. I shot this this year. It's the Egyptian side, so I have the Egyptian flag. Some of you have been in Egypt, I assume, or will go to Egypt one day. I really kind of motivated to do that because, of course, one of the 7 wonders are there. And as you see, with both flags. Now, what I did is I moved after I did. Unfortunately, this is a little bit small, so if you can just focus here. As you see, I started my trips around Europe, and then I did Scotland, Ireland, and then I did the Arctic Circle. All this was in the circle of Europe, doing a couple of thousand kilometers in the summertime, being 4, 5, or 6, solo, carrying the flags, having the passion for it. And also in Egypt, around Sinai, the pyramids, 2010, when we had a rally there, doing the same thing. My challenge started after, some of you might have heard, or the younger ones maybe just touched it. In 2011, there was a revolution in Egypt, and a lot of changes took place. And all these, well, I'd say the older guys, senior guys in my age, were sitting in front of the TV, excitedly with their flags and saying, yes, Egypt and all that stuff, which is beautiful and nice, but they forgot that they have to do something about it. So they told me, yeah, we're going to be Egyptians, we're going to be patriots. And I said, what are you doing? I mean, is there anything? The young guys are in the streets, what are you doing? So they challenged me and I said, no, I'm going to go to the end of the world carrying the flag. So this is how it started. And the first thing that came on mind was Australia. But why should I go to Australia? I mean, then I have to fly all that stuff and then maybe make it in 2 weeks. So I decided to do this Zurich, Tokyo. I will go through some slides and some videos so you can see a little bit how easy and difficult it is to get to the target. I'm going back to the word target, discipline, passion. This is the things that you have to keep on in mind all your life. You can change your target if you have to, but you can keep on the target and make some zigzags to get there. You also have to be flexible. You have to also kind of be aware that not to be only stubborn, one to be stubborn and one to be flexible. So, here we go. This is I left Zurich on the 6/6/2014. Some of my Swiss side family, some of my Egyptian side. Au revoir. I here was quite naive a little bit and a little bit, you know, we could call it the calmness before the storm. Everything looked rosy, I was fresh, shaved. That's how life starts, but you have to be a little bit like this. Zurich, Tokyo was invented just 2-3 days before, practically this plastic, what do you call it, to know where I'm going. Of course, when I started driving from Zurich until Lithuania, Latvia, I couldn't go through Ukraine, so I had to go upwards. People were looking at me and thinking, this guy is cuckoo or something. I mean, he's not going to talk. Okay, it's nice to have this sign. Starting from Lithuania, when I went into Russia, into Russian territory, to Moscow, and then further to Samara, Ufa, and all these villages going to central Russia, that's where they really took me serious and they believe that I'm going to try at least to go to Tokyo. And this motorcycle has advantages. It's a heavy one, so it's not made for bad roads, but it's comfortable and safe. While all the other drivers drove beside me in bad roads and looked at me and said, how can this guy really drive through these territories? Because Russia, fortunately, is building new highway from one side to the other, and you can see how big Russia is. But it won't be finished, I assume, before 2020 or something like that. So anybody of you, if you want to do the same trip with a car or a motorcycle, I advise you to do it to 2020. So then you say, oh, this guy, what was he doing? I mean, he's making this so complicated. Here, as you see, the start, very fresh. Here I was in Prague, it was in the beginning of the place also. Still, the weather was good. I had some days the weather was +7, +6, which is my minimum. And in the afternoon it reached 40. 40 with this gear, this is part of it. And I have to wear it because of safety, including, of course, the pants and boots and all that stuff that I'm not going to wear today, and the black helmet and all that. You're very happy when it's cold, but when it's hot, I tell you, it's not fun. Well, this was my first lady I met on the road. She was helping me because there were two of them, the other half of the picture is not here, because my bike tilted, it's quite a heavy bike, and her husband and the other guy helped me to put it back straight. The interesting part about this lady is she didn't know the pyramids. So I met people in Central Russia, which might be in the 50s or 60s or older. It's very difficult to assess her age. But really, she didn't know what the pyramids are. She didn't know, okay, I was communicating with science, understand doing the pyramids, Egypt, whatever. They didn't know anything. So the interesting part will come later. I will get back to that. I was blessed and also honored by the Swiss ambassador in Moscow and the Egyptian ambassador, the Swiss ambassador in Astana, in the big cities of Tokyo. So this gave it a little bit weight. It was also good propaganda for Switzerland and Egypt. So practically that's where I stopped by these places to have a photo shoot and sometimes a little press conference. Now watch this. Young ladies, young gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this looks easy. It's like taking a Benz and going in the desert. This is not built for that. The stones were that big. The roads are still under construction. As I said, in 2020, maybe in the 40s, they'll have the best highway from one side to the other. But until then, in 2014, when they start scrubbing it up and putting the stones and leaving it, with 40 degrees Celsius, 100% humidity, I can tell you, you really have to have a kind of discipline in your will. And in the end of the day, I go back to my word, target. Nothing's going to stop me except death, sickness, or a technical issue that cannot be fixed. Otherwise, nothing's going to stop me. Why should it? Because I have a target. Of course, as you see, the target can be like an enter, like a duck. It can be faster, it's zigzag, but it is the target. And if 3 factors don't kick in, any of them, I will keep on going. Why should I stop? So just look at this, and even some of you might be motorcycle drivers here, from young girls and ladies and young gentlemen, but believe me, this is not built for them. I don't know how I did it. This is the other side. This is Kazakhstan. A few miles before Astana, which is the capital of Kazakhstan, Central Asia, a country with 70 million people, rich, relatively rich, in oil, etc. This is a very lovely picture. I drove like this for a day, 2 days. A friend of mine on Facebook, by the way, if anybody wants to join me, please, Ahlan wa sahlan, you're welcome, wrote me quite a nice message here. He told me, Sherif, if you're in an emergency, call 911 and ask for God. That's the only way I can get out of it. So here. Fun, huh? That's really fun. No, it is. I had music with me. I never listened to it because I was in nature. It was fresh. I was discovering things, driving through, going through from the future to the present to the past. Except if it's bad weather and there are a lot of drivers and bad roads, then it gets to be a problem. Because there are 3 things. If they kick in together, you're dead man driving. Bad roads. And I mean bad roads, I said with stones, not bad roads, just a few holes like we have in Cairo. No, real bad road. Bad weather, and I mean showers that you can see the water, the wind changes within seconds from one direction to the other. And bad behavior. Can you imagine on a road like this, cars coming and going, and they're driving with in your face practically, and there is water, you cannot see even the holes and wind. So if you have one factor, bad weather, it's okay, bad roads, it's okay. If you get them all together, 3 of them, you're in big trouble. But that's exactly like life.
Like you going into university, going into the working force, getting married, if into a divorce, having a kid, having two, having three, and so on. It's life, it's all part of life. And then changing your residence, going to another country, and then retiring. And you think it's going to be retiring. Challenges keep on going, or at least you take the change into your hand. You can see the roads. Of course, it's very simple. It's like somewhere in Basel here or in Zurich. No, ladies, young gentlemen. These are holes and pockets. I couldn't see them. So I had to develop, what? A kind of a system to survive. So how did I do it? I put my front tire behind the truck. So if the truck does like this, I just take the risk, a 50-50 chance that I don't have the hole on this side or on this side. And it worked. Improvisieren. The Swiss are organized. The Egyptians are to improvise. In life, you have to do it both. This one, well, I remember when I looked at that, after 300 kilometers or more, not one shade. Maybe 2 cars passed me. I was lucky enough, like the one picture I saw, 2 cars passed me. And I found this wooden bag. I just put the bike, took off my gear, throw water on myself, and I said, what the hell am I doing? Viva Egypt in the Swiss. Of course, I was still proud, and the target was still there. Tokyo. Nothing is going to stop me except the 3 things I told you. Now this is another sample. Tired? Who of you wants to ride motorcycles? Excellent. Well, this is the first test you're going to get. Another stony place. And believe me, I don't know how it passed it. Because it looks normal, but on video it doesn't. And the roads are practically, it's not built. As I said, you're using a Benz and driving in the desert. It doesn't work. And that's where Mr. Honda, when I got to meet him in Tokyo, couldn't believe that this was done. And he asked me how, I don't know. I told him I don't know. This is getting to Ulaanbaatar. Ulaanbaatar is the capital of Mongolia. It's a big country. And it's quite neutral, safe, it's very green, it has a lot of horses, very nice people, very generous people. I was stuck there for a week, although I just wanted to stay 2 days, because I couldn't get into China, so it was plan B. So again, I said, there is a target, you follow the target, but you have to be flexible to change accordingly, to adapt to the system. So you cannot just say, I will stubbornly keep on going straight forward, but you cannot also say, I'm quitting. So I took the plan B, which was Mongolia, instead of plan A, which was China. And that's where my white lady had the pleasure of these 5 strong men to put it in a box, to fly it to Tokyo, or Yokohama to be more precise, because my first plan was China, and then from the borders by boat. Plan B was Mongolia, because it's forbidden to drive alone there in China, but it wasn't. I cleared it, but they changed their mind in the end. So this is the what I could say, improvisieren part.
say in German, Merk's. This is a beautiful road. And you've seen the other roads. This is beautiful. This is Mongolia. The roads are perfect. The weather was good. Just to give you an example. But still, it's not like Switzerland. This is when I reached Tokyo, and I was honored by the ambassadors there, reaching my target. The Egyptian ambassador told me, Sherif, I think nobody realizes that this is Egypt. This flag belongs to Egypt. We have to do something. I have an idea. I'm going to put Tutankhamun Khamun on the tail of your bike, and you drive around Japan, so you know. Because the Swiss flag, it being the past or the future, is known to everybody. But the Egyptian isn't. So we managed, in Egyptian Provisorian way, to adjust Tutankhamun. And he came with the idea, since it took me 69 days to go from Zurich to Tokyo, with hiccups and so on. It's the 69th anniversary of Hiroshima, so why don't you drive to Hiroshima, and we'll let the mayor or the sub-mayor receive you, and we'll make a little press conference, and you're carrying both flags and so on. So I did that, and I took the drive of 600 kilometers via Kyoto to go to Hiroshima. When I came back, after the press conference in both embassies, and after the speech and all that stuff, and some publicity, especially for Egypt, because Egypt means more than Switzerland, I got the honor to meet Mr. Asimo. Now, the people who are the students, the young lady students or young gentlemen students sitting here who will study engineering or technology, this robot does nearly everything. And I was honored. Before me, it was Merkel and Obama who played with him. They opened the saal, they put my name on it, they put the flags, it was on TV and so on. So it was a propaganda good to change, not only to use this sport, extreme sport, but to tie Egypt, Switzerland, and Japan together. So as you see, from a simple motorcycle driver, which there are hundreds of thousands in the world, maybe millions, try to make something out of it. And the scene was really surprising me. And I can tell you, when I demonstrated the films, which you saw just a few minutes ago, in these bad roads in central Russia, the Japanese were sitting there, looking at the video. Huh? Huh? Oh. This is incredible. You went with this Honda through these roads? I said, yes. I don't know how. I had the pleasure also that somebody in the embassy of Egypt made a painting, putting the pyramids on one side, Tokyo on the other side, and this painting seems to be still in the embassy there in Tokyo. Look at this tree. This is Japan. The roads are good. I mean, you saw the other one. So in the end of the day, what I want to also emphasize here is you have a target, you're flexible, you will reach it one way or another. There might be things that might stop you, and then you get to this. So don't forget this also when you're in your career. Now, I said a lot about the old trip I did from Zurich to Tokyo, which took me 69 days, 17,000 kilometers, plus minus.
And in the end, I reached these beautiful roads. Now I'll just shortly talk about these flags, which are the old ones, the original ones. And now we'll talk about these flags, which have another challenge. So my next challenge now will be a little bit bigger. And I will not only do it as I did here, and I did like this. No, it's going to be here. Now, I'm going to start on the 1st of April. This is kein Scherz. 1st of April. From Ushuaia, which is the tip of Argentina, to Alaska. No. It's about, I would say 30,000 kilometers, calculated 120 days. Not 9 countries, but 12, 13, 14, depending. It's going to be a challenge. The roads are a little bit better. I won't have the heat I had in Asia, Central Asia and Japan, with humidity 100%, but I'll have something completely different. I'll have 3 weak points. In the south, the wind is so strong that it tips buses. So this will be my first challenge. And in the central, the 6, 7 countries in the central, there are 2 or 3 of them, there is a security issue passing through them. And up here, if I have a malfunction, if I have a technical issue, I hope no bear will approach me. I doubt my charm will work. So this will be my 3 challenges. I should start the 1st of April. It's going to be from Ushuaia to practically Anchorage. This is open because maybe I go a little bit more north, carrying the Egyptian and Swiss flag, and also protocol-wise the flag of the country I'm passing. I heard some South American countries mentioned today, like Colombia, I don't know other countries. I'll be passing them because below I'll start in Argentina, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and then I will hit the central countries, Panama, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Honduras, Guatemala, and then the United States through, and then Canada. So again, I go to the same point which was in the career, as a banker, and as an adventurer. I have a target, I'm going to follow it, I have to be flexible to make zigzags to survive. Nothing's going to stop me except the 3 things I mentioned: theft, sickness, and a technical unsolvable problem. And never forget the big picture. If I suffer today, tomorrow I'm just going to laugh about it. Now, a little bit, just shortly about what are the things that I'm carrying with me. I have to have some kind of nutrition because I have to have the vitamins. Some of you might be studying medicine and minerals. I have to have technical, some medication, of course H2O water, and some other things technical concerning the bike. And not to forget the cameras, otherwise I cannot show off this I did today. So one of the things that comes from the very Egyptian side, or the Arabic side, are dates. By the way, these are the originals, so I don't want anybody to try it. This is just for demonstration. Dry dates. If you take an odd number, 3, 5, or 7, you have a nutrition for the whole day. So if you take 3 or 5, you don't find anything else to eat. It really gives you everything. Dry mangoes, some macadamias, or nuts. With this, and of course H2O water, with this you are practically equipped. If you don't find the tank station with some food, or you find these biscuits which you cannot eat every day and it's too much sugar and other stuff in it, which is not exactly what you want to get. Not forgetting the Swiss side, aroma. Because after a while, the dates, believe me, has no taste. So you just put a little bit of aroma and say, oh my God, filet, huh? It's a real filet. Last but not least, try to make it simple with medication for diarrhea, for headache, for backache. Not to forget the minimum first aid. And be schlau genug to have 3, 4, and not 1 big one. Because if it gets damaged or lost, and you have a diarrhea or something, you're in big trouble. Having mentioned all that, you have to stay fit. You're sitting on a motorcycle 10 hours. You're driving. Heat, coldness. So at night, there are 3 things I have to do when I enter, if they call it a hotel or a pension or sleeping on a madrasa just on the floor. First of all, to check everything in your pocket, that you didn't lose a passport or a credit card or something, because without that you won't survive. Second of all, you do your 50 or 60 minutes training within 2 square meters, because you cannot jog. So what's the alternative to jogging? Cardio. Does anybody know in here? I need to cardio. I won't find the swimming pool. I won't find the treadmill. Jumping jacks. I'm sure you know it. You do 500 jumping jacks, that's about 4 or 5 kilometers running. And the ice stick, you know, you do some biceps and some back, so you're fit. And don't forget, you have to wash the stuff. And this is synthetic. So you have to wash it in a way that it dries and you can wear it the next day. You just do it on the opposite side with a little bit of soap and you keep the soap on it. So you smell the soap in the morning. So this is in a very simple nutshell. I just want to close this, I won't say speed, going back to target. Always keep a target. Every day you wake up. Zigzag it, it's no problem. Discipline, that's a Swiss side. Precision and emotions, passion. Without passion, you'll miss something in life. But without brains, I'll leave that up to you. Thank you very much.